So Rob Potter, he's a world-renowned, real physical contactee of the Venusians and the Pleiadians. He shares his knowledge freely about travels from these worlds. He has been having actual physical encounters with our space family since he was 17 when he worked with Dr. Fred Bell. He has given seminars all over the world and has also appeared on numerous radio and TV shows and has been interviewed in lots of magazines and newspapers for over 45 years. His website is called The Promise Revealed, and this website also has the advanced pyramid healing technologies given to Fred Bell from Rob from the Pleiadians and Andromedans. Rob is considered an expert in pyramidology and uses of crystals and lasers for advanced quantum field healing. He is sharing the healing technology given to Fred Bell during his 43 years of developing and making these devices. The pyramid systems technology that includes the Promise receptor and the Promise Andromedan holographic projector was given from the Pleiadian, utilizes Venusian healing technology as well. Rob loves sharing advanced healing and manifestation technologies utilizing pyramidal arrays with light, sound, and color in conjunction with Tesla coils, scalar waves, quantum entanglement technologies. These pyramidal arrays are very strong when utilized with crystal chambers. So let's go ahead and put it on. But let me also tell you that Rob Potter does a conference every year in Mount Shasta, California. I am a speaker this year. It's going to be the weekend after July 4th. So I think it's July 7th, 8th, 9th. And if you want to get discounted tickets, email me from the Portal to Ascension website, okay? Because I only have 3 of them. So if you guys want discounted tickets, email me. And if you want to learn more about it, you can go to the partners page on Portal to Ascension. But I'm going to be speaking there. I'm going to do a chanting workshop there. A lot of amazing people, Laura Eisenhower, and a bunch of people. You can check out the flyer. I think there's like 20 people altogether. So that's one of his productions, one of his babies that he has manifested into this world. So let's go ahead and put on his presentation.
Hey folks, this is Rob Potter here. I'm in Mount Shasta, California. I want to thank Neil Gar and all the other esteemed speakers here on the Pyramid Knowledge Conference. I'm going to introduce myself by sharing my website and talking a little bit about what I do. I am a lifetime contactee of the Venusians and the Pleiadians. I work with the late, great Dr. Fred Bell, who was a NASA scientist. His father invented the automatic transmission, the alternator. His great uncle invented the telephone, and he worked for NASA and JPL and became a contactee. This is my conference coming on this summer, and if you come here, you just want to click this button, and you'll see Neil Gower is also speaking here, and there's a lot of information here on this conference right here. If you go down here, where to stay, all the tickets, introduction. This talks about my contacts with Venusians. We have a lot of wonderful contactees, biographies, vendors, all kinds of stuff. So that's an exciting thing that you can check out. Coming up this summer, meet Neil Gar, myself, Laura Eisenhower, Alex Collier, Vivian Chauvet, Bo Johnson inside the Earth, David Wallace, a brand new contactee from the Aldebaran system, getting amazing. He just got his master's in physics. He's an astrophysicist working on portal technology and other advanced things. There's some other wonderful speakers. I'll let you check that out. So since this is a pyramid knowledge conference, I'm going to share. I don't have enough time to share all the information about pyramids that I have in my little quiver. But from the context of the Pleiades with Fred Bell, they gave us a lot of information about the pyramids in order to amplify them and to make them usable products for your health. So this device here grounds out energies. You can read about it. We have different headgear pyramids. We have a headgear gold, and I'm going to wear right here the head gold silver. The one like this, it has nickel and gold, calms the hypothalamus, and it helps in meditation, and you go into alpha state pretty automatically with this. The headgear copper, you add copper to the gold plating, and you have the positive and passive metals, and it creates orgone. And the copper resonates at the frequency of the adrenal glands and gives you not only emotional calming, but physical energy. And the one I'm wearing, the headgear pyramid silver, actually stimulates the pineal gland. So this is the top pyramid here. The Pleiadians suggested various configurations. This device here, the Devistar, is for a larger building over 2,500 square feet. And this is a star orb. And this has a plug that goes into the ground and actually grounds the energy. It actually blocks EMF and things like that. The pyramid is actually a tremendous Faraday cage as well. This device is called a MIDI Firestar. It's a unique device. It has a lot of crystals. So when you go to my site, I have a lot of information here. This is about my right to use all of Fred Bell's products, my dedication to him, and some different pyramid systems technologies that I have about these systems. And we're going to maybe go into this in a little bit here. But I wanted to show you where to get all the information here. And we have so much information on pyramids and their applications in our daily lives that I wanted to basically share that with you before we go into the pyramid lecture. And I have quite a bit here. So see if you can follow along. I'm going to go pretty quick. Due to scheduling changes today, my misunderstanding or a change that I wasn't aware of, I'm not going to be doing this live. So Neil will play this at my appointed time. But we look at a pyramid. What is it? A pyramid contains a large volume of magnetic concentration that exists within the pyramidal boundaries, which help protect the human body from adverse effects of negative energies and radio frequencies. With regular use, the pyramids help create a beneficial environment for your body to function properly. Now, when you think about the pyramid, we have to define it. So it's properly defined as progressive energy transfer through geometric focusing and dynamic electrical amplification over a measured plane of coordinates. Simply stated, the pyramid shape acts as a lens and focuses the Earth's magnetism. The pyramid is shaped like the carbon atom, which is one of the base structures of creation. The carbon atom is a tetrahedron and has the inherent characteristic that when aligned to magnetic north, it rings and sings. The pyramid also acts like a prism in its shape for the Earth's magnetism and creates 7 levels of energy. And unlike a prism, the ray energy at the top of the pyramid would be red, the second would be blue, the third layer would be green, the fourth layer would be yellow, the fifth layer would be orange, the sixth layer would be purple, and the seventh layer would be violet. Pink Floyd's got it a little there, but I thought I would just share that with you. So everything on the material plane is composed of 4 elements: carbon, oxygen, hydrogen, and nitrogen. Okay? The Native Americans called them earth, air, water, and fire. Hydrogen being fire, hydrogen being water, nitrogen being fire, and carbon being earth. So when we look at the 4 building blocks, what the pyramid does is it creates this magical energy, pyramid, fire in the middle, from the Latin pyra and medi. So that's fire in the middle, okay? All shapes have energy fields. It just happens that the pyramid has the optimum energy field for the human body. The pyramid produces the anu, or the ultimate physical atom, which is a heart fractal wave like that. And I'll get into that a little bit more. In modern scientific terms, the pyramid produces the negative ion effect. This is a big aspect to the enhanced energy fields that Dr. Sam, I've experienced down with him, and he's amazing. He's a real Indiana Jones, folks. When he gets down on the ground as a push-up, the earth moves. So hats off to Dr. Sam. So this is a diamond. Look at that. Amazing, isn't it? Diamond in its natural state, its highest element is an octahedral pyramid. Okay? The diamond is like gold, and the iron molecule has an octahedral shape, as does gold. This is why gold and diamonds and even crystals are valued, because of the sacred life force and energies that are inherent in the pyramid shape. This is known by extraterrestrials, and all the world's symbols are adorned with these sacred healing stones and metals, so that humanity exposed to the sacred metal of the sun, which carries the divine masculine and feminine magnetic healing properties. Silver is the metal of the moon and has healing vibrations as well. So some people in our world now, we have degraded these materials by hoarding them in greed and using these stones as accessories to vanity and arrogant displays of wealth. So we see the hemoglobin in the bloodstream, and it's actually has these radial arms coming off like a galaxy here. And on these radial arms in the center, it's an iron molecule with a heme chain. And same thing for all these arms. They're a bunch of heme chains. And what they do is they go through the blood in the oxygen, they create what is called the ferrous and the ferric exchange, where the blood breathes in a negative ion, it takes a charge, attaches to the hemoglobin, and the hemoglobin rotates through the blood like a jet engine with these spiral arms of a starfish, and gives off oxygen and picks up carbon dioxide. And so how do we get negative ions, folks? Well, in nature, this life force is called by the Hindus as prana, by the Japanese call it ki, the Chinese call it chi, the Tibetans call it sumo, the Germans call it odetic force, Wilhelm Reich call it orgo, that we can call it negative ions or life force. So whenever you take a negative ion meter and put it underneath the pyramid, you're not going to register a negative ion because it's actually a subatomic particle that is contained in that heart wave that I showed you earlier. That fractal, inside of each electron, there are 49 of these anus from the higher planes. So everything in the dimensionality, causality of the physical plane is kind of like a Russian shell game of higher and higher frequencies. We are on the lowest, densest plane that we know of, the third dimensional plane, and therefore certain laws of physics are slightly different. So, but the negative ion cannot be measured under the pyramid, yet it's there. And the secret to producing a negative ion is the gold molecule, folks. That's why I have these testicoids, and we'll take you on a quick little tour in a minute. But look at these thunderstorms. The air reaches a potential of positive ions, and then nature takes over and a lightning strike takes place and purifies the air. You know how good the air smells after a rainstorm and electricity? It basically drops all the particulates out of the air. So we have a lot of pollution going on, chemtrails, graphene's in the air. We have attrition from smog. We have from cars and factories. So we have a tremendous amount of negative ions, which are causing deleterious effects. Okay, so also water meeting air. You know how good you feel when you're down by the seashore, or like around here, this amazing waterfall, or at the ocean shore, or on the ocean. Plants also produce negative ions. Actually, the number one source of negative ions on the planet are probably the algae in the oceans, because there's so much of it out there. But we're polluting our oceans, cutting down the forests, and polluting the air. This has led to a critical condition where the balance of negative ion and positive ions in the atmosphere has been destroyed. Worldwide, we have way more positive ions in the world atmosphere today than we did 50 years ago, especially with geoengineering and the criminal activities of transhumanism that are causing the thing. So what this does is it affects the serotonin levels emitted by the pituitary gland and the pineal gland. This affects the attention span of the body to handle stress. You may have noticed, if you studied this, that during the full moon, there's more criminal activity. There are more accidents. In fact, in the Middle East, it's kind of considered a mitigating circumstance. Lunacy causes from the serotonin fluctuations in the body. It's important that we understand our endocrine glands and how these endocrine glands work when we're studying the pyramids and the chakras and understanding how our body works. We are a rainbow light body of life force energy. Primarily, we're electrical magnetic beings inhabiting a physical fleshly temple that we build from the womb and that we discard at death. And so what happens is we're played like a musical instrument. You have 7 notes in musical scale, you have 7 chakras. Okay? Now you look at the half tones. We would have 12 notes in the scale, the 13th would be the octave. And funny that you look at the acupuncture lines and we have 12 organ meridians. As the energy comes into the crown chakra and it flows through the body, it goes through 12 organ meridians. Okay, so it's important that you recognize the relationship to your luminous light body and that of your electromagnetic biofield and how this plays into your psycho-spiritual experience on Earth. Okay, so this is a typical example of like what our smog does. This is a huge storm cloud. This takes place in the Middle East. In fact, in the Arabian countries, they call it the Hamzin. And Hamzin means 50, because the average number of days a year that this blows is probably 1 in 7 days. They have these, not this, maybe this heavy, but they have heavy sand blowing winds. And the wind going across the sand kicks the sand up and denigrates the negative ions. The negative ions want to take that dirt and bring it down to keep life flourishing on the planet. So when these winds blow, you can go to court and say, oh, the Hamsun made me do it, or the full moon made me do it. I became crazy because of the physiological effects of the positive ions. Okay, now we're going to get into the Great Pyramid a little bit here. I've been there a couple times and had some previous lifetime experiences there as well. This is, of course, a photoshopped image, but we're looking at the Great Pyramid here and the complex at Giza. In the Bible, there is a passage, in the heart of the land of Egypt, in the midst on the border thereof, there lies an altar to the Lord. This is, of course, the reference to the Great Pyramid. Okay? Metaphysically speaking, the pyramid is a principle of matter made flesh. It is a material object, and yet is the only thing that has a human aura, just like plants, animals, only living things have a biomagnetic auric field. But the pyramid, being the carbon atom, which is the base of the human body, that's an aura. And then you have what is called the Christ principle. And the Christ principle is a principle whereby mind, conditioned by matter, in flesh, through time and space, returns to spirit. And here's a matter made flesh. This is a pyramid connected to a Tesla coil. Note the divine masculine and feminine vortex is coming off the pyramid. The pyramid is also a trans-dimensional portal, is considered extremely important in interdimensional physics on many worlds throughout the Galactic Federation of Life. The pyramid is used and understood and respected as responsible for enhancing life and is utilized in a multitude of ways. And we're going to get into that a little bit more in one of the second parts of my lecture here. Now, on each world, the number and sides of the angles of the pyramid are different. The type of life, the geological makeup, and specific gravity and consciousness that exist in these worlds will determine the exact dimensions. However, among the Galactic Federation of Light, it's common knowledge that the level of culture and consciousness upon a planet can be ascertained by observing the condition of the pyramid temples that exist on that world. And here, of course, we have a biblical time where the extraterrestrials are meeting some people through the guidance that, of course, always goes on. Unfortunately, the depiction here is showing a woman in a tent, not able to be there. This is, of course, a limited human idea of the role of women, but considered absolutely equal to men throughout the galaxy. Now, there is a universal spiritual order called the Order of Melchizedek. This order contains both male and female priests who have dedicated themselves to serving others before they serve themselves. These beings exist in various pyramid temple societies located throughout the galaxy and act as counselors to the various peoples who reside thereon. I'm honored to have been asked to join this order, and I was inducted into the Royal Order of Melchizedek by a Venusian who was present and sponsored Dr. Frank Stranges and commissioned by Valiant Thor. This image here is a famous picture of Valiant Thor, the commander to the Earth fleet of Venusians, put in that position by Yahshua, or Jesus the Christ, the ascended master, asked him to minister to the Earth. He was adopted by Don Thor and the Thor family, and this is Jill, and I believe that she is his wife. Now, I've met all three of these beings. I met Don Thor in 1982 in Yucca Valley, California, under the guidance of Gabriel Green. He explained to me some stuff, and he showed up with 2 other Venusians and 3 women in the back. I've told that story many times and won't go into it. I met Valiant Thor in 2003 in Utah at what's called a rainbow gathering, and had a brief encounter with him, two women and one other gentleman. This woman I met in Las Vegas at Dr. Frank Strange's meeting in 2007. Before he passed away, I was the only person that recognized her. And we had some brief conversations on various things, and she walked outside and left the meeting. But I knew who she was. And I asked her in the room, I said, have you ever seen a UFO? Knowing, of course, the answer. She said, UFO, no. She said, but I saw a spaceship in New Jersey once, of course, indicating this 1957, March 16th appearance of Valiant Thor at Howard Menger's meeting. Howard Menger was one of the first contactees of the Venusians back in the 40s, and this was him in 50s. So we have a lot of negative things going on. This is an example of an Alaskan HARP station at full power here, with them trying to open up some portals in some negative ways. So why do we need these tools? We have magnetic pollution. It's filled with universal discord and anxiety on the planet. We're all feeling frazzled and fried from the assaults on our body of chemtrails, impure water, insecticides, pesticides in our food, ELF, 5G, smart meters, genetically altered food, smog, vaccinations, electronic entrainment, and TV and media, just to name a few of these auric destabilizers. These technologies are being used in a deliberate attempt to jam the frequencies to control our higher self. We start on our physical lower personality vehicles on all fronts. It's quite effective for those who don't have these technologies available. Our bodies can resist and overcome these attacks if we can use our common sense and the right protective technologies. Of course, the solution is to remove these technologies from our society that are destroying us and correct our societal infrastructure. If we lived in a perfect world, this type of technology would not be needed so much for healing and stabilizing the Earth's vortexes. However, the way things are right now is clear. These devices are wonderful gifts, tools and agents and adjuncts for divine intervention. The Pleiadians told me that the pyramid technology of the pyramid systems that I have that were given to Fred Bell, that I am the legacy, I'm the holder, I'm the only one who knows how to build them, are a gift from the Pleiadians of divine intervention. This famous picture of the seven sisters does not belie the fact that there are over 250 solar systems in the Pleiades, and you can only see seven. Now, they're not always the longest lived races. Many of the races have transferred to this center of the galaxy over time. So what they said is in these pyramid systems, this is a rainbow gathering where I met Valiant Thor at one of these. I also met Babaji in 1978. He's a famous yogi avatar who was a teacher of Paramahansa Yogananda, Mahayana Sri Yukteswar, and another guy in India. He taught me Kriya Yoga and the science of the still breath. So at these gatherings, people pray into the ground, into the earth, to the Earth Mother or the Holy Spirit. And this is one of the technologies that they've given us, and I'll show you some of that around here. And we utilize crystals in conjunction with these energies. So the crystals all have specific frequencies, and so we can create energies with them. And here again, you see the various force centers at etheric levels called chakras, which direct prana or life force into our body. So we have these different devices. This, as I showed you before, creates a spring or a well-like energy of just constant abundance and healing energy all over the body. We have 7 notes in the musical scale, and so that's important that you understand that. So the other thing I'd like to say is, as a physical contactee of these extraterrestrials, I actually have a pedigree from contact from the age of 17, and I'm now 65 years old. So I have a lot of discernment. There's a lot of people having tremendous experiences, and many people are being awoken and going from 0 to 120 in months or a couple of years. I've been in the field very, very long time. I've studied, and I have a lot of experiences with contacts. The Pleiadians actually beamed me into a mothership in 1987 or 89, And my contacts with Venusians culminated in a physical face-to-face contact where they were sent specifically for me to take some messages and deliver them to the people of Earth. And most people don't grasp that this is real, that these are actual Venusians on recording, sharing their message of hope, peace, and love. And they're not so involved in the political aspect of what's going on, but they're always here to help us contact our soul and to develop our connection to the God force. Okay, so I'm going to go into, I think I have this PowerPoint number 2 here. We'll get this up and get this going. So we'll do a slideshow and we'll play from the start here. And oh, I better share this. Let's see. Yeah, share the screen of the proper slideshow. Okay, so here we go. So I'm going to pull this up real quick. And a lot of my experience with the pyramids and everything has been dedicated to the spiritual aspect. For instance, when a spaceship landed in front of me out in the desert of Yucca Valley, and Gabriel Green called me one day and said, "Rob, the Ascended Master Hilarion is coming out to give you a message." I hung up the phone. I called him. He had paged me on a pager back in those days. Some of you guys too young to know that. But he paged me. I called from a phone booth. And when I hung up the phone after he told me to come up, the phone actually rang like a fire alarm. And I heard an echo. And he had played a call where they called him from outer space. So I recognized that they were telling me, you better get your butt up there. So the pyramid is God's divine gift and contains many spiritual truths. Now, nothing is created or destroyed, it only changes form. Everything in all of creation is merely the expression of the divine mind of God. We are all sons and daughters of God, and we are his thought projections of himself, interacting with himself in the infinite variations of name and form, in infinite densities throughout all time and space and beyond. Truly, we are one. As one being, being all, and all beings being one. The pyramid is God's perfect design, and God is the pyramid of everything, the fire in the middle. The center of all things is God himself in the midst of his creation. Okay, so there's a lot of spiritual proofs, and I'm going to get a little bit into the great pyramid mathematics and stuff that you can see here in just a moment. So we'll go into the next slide. Down. Oh, there it is. Okay, over here. Okay, the pyramid represents so many things, it's ridiculous. And its geometry that's built into it is endless. It has the secrets of creation, including the keystone of modern day mathematics. The base of the pyramid divided by the height equals pi, the number that progresses to infinity. So, most people are going to recognize this image here. Electricity and magnetism are reciprocal in the ever-evolving, changing world, especially in the third dimension of the entropic universe that we live in. And it's perfectly balanced. The perfection is reflected in the natural order of mathematics or sacred geometry as everything's created. The key of the what they call the flower of life and the DNA is all based on the natural order. This number is a Fibonacci spiral that you see here, the numerological sequence that progresses to infinity. The language of light is spoken as a word of God or the logos. This logos is harmony, resonance, beauty, proportion, and scale. All are reflected in everything, even in this entropic material universe of name and form, which is arises, flourishes, and decays, or the creator and the preserver and the destroyer, the Brahma, the Vishnu, and the Shiva, or as we know it, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. Okay, so these, when you think of religion, religare from Latin means to reunite. Yoga, that word means union. We're seeking for union and understanding. And you don't have to throw out science when it comes to the truth of God and faith. Okay, God and creationism and the creator are not exclusive to each other. In other words, God created everything. He even created evolution on the material plane. So it's not like we just magically appeared. There's a divine mind and a divine purpose to everything. And there's, I don't want to go too deep into the metaphysics of the angelic realms and things like that, because I'm just learning and I don't want to make mistakes, but I can tell you some things. So here we see the Fibonacci is reflected in the spirals, in your hair swirls, in your fingerprints. And it's in a pine cone, and you see it in here, and you'll actually see the flower of life if you look closely in here. So that's the Fibonacci spiral that we all recognize. Okay, so I talked about that. I talked about this and how it reflects Earth's magnetism. Now, we all exist in a wave of frequencies flowing in and out of each other. Our awareness and our attention directs and creates energies into form. Thoughts are things, and energy follows thought. That's why the Tibetans say the mind is the slayer of the real, meaning that our dualistic mind is limited and cannot understand the one true reality. In fact, we always fall short in the realm or illusion of Maya and matter. So I'm going to talk to you about this a little bit. First of all, you can't make a perfect circle. That's because everything seems to be real, but it's not. And this is the nature of the atomic proton, neutron, and electron. Okay, so let's take an orange and blow it up to the size of the Earth to give you some perspective, all right? So you blow the Earth up to the size of the orange, and you look down on the orange, you want to pick up an atom. You pick up an atom, and it's about the size of a cherry. And you look at the cherry, it looks solid, it looks real, but it's an illusion. It's actually something so small in the middle you can't even see it, and then there's a little grain of salt, a bunch of salt revolving around it, and they actually stop in certain positions. It's not always moving in that. They're just moving all over. And this is kind of what they call the string or the wave field theory. So sometimes it's solid for a second, the rest of the time it's moving around. And our consciousness, our seed atom of life force, as we grow from a budding consciousness as a rock, as a flower, into sentient animals, and then into sentient human beings, we have what the Buddhists call aggregates of consciousness, or skandhas, and we create relationships within ourselves in this temporal body. And the journey here is to learn to grow in love and to serve each other. When you realize the law of one, that everything is a reflection of the divine and holy mind of God, then you can understand the teachings of Jesus Christ and how important it is to treat each other as brothers and sisters under one living God. We can disagree, we can have different agreements, right? But we cannot harm each other. We should follow some natural orders and rules. So this electron in orange is not absolutely perfect. This is called the dance or the illusion of Myra. But that progresses to infinity. Now, Freemasons have a bad rap, and I'm sure at the highest levels they certainly deserve it. They use that for secret meeting groups, and they create rituals around their activities that they have inserted. But originally, the Masons were a very positive and powerful group. They were actually working very closely with the Venusians to establish new platforms to overthrow tyranny on the planet, which was influenced by the Reptilian and Draco alliance. But just like any avatar or teacher who comes, they have a teachings. When they die, they try to carry on the teachings, and they create these structures like churches, like religions. And then you have individual egos trying to insert themselves between the teaching of the avatar, or the descent of light, or the person who bought the spiritual truth, and to intersperse themselves between God and you. I'm the one who knows what Jesus said. I'm telling you what he did. And you have to follow this rule. You have to wear these clothes. You have to do this. You have to come in here. You have to give us your money. All of these religious hucksters, all of these religious potentiates, all of these bellicose militarists that are in control of our world right now are the false gods, the false prophets of destruction. God exists within you as you. It is your positive attention to the light of God and to the positive nature of creation and serving others as yourself that you can heal this earth. I'm looking for Trump. There's no savior there. I'm looking for the military White Hats. There's no saviors there. They haven't done anything, have they? Where's the arrest? There may be a few in there, but most of them are in what is called the theater of war, and they're mostly been involved with the negative forces, and that are the beings cast down from the higher dimensions. And we can go into that. That's actually goes back to some of our more ancient but recent history in certain terms with Atlantis and things like that. But there were pyramids all over the place then. So the Masons, the Freemason, the all-seeing eye is not the controlling eye of Lucifer. It's the eye of God seeing everything. Okay. Also, there are many symbols within the Great Seal of the United States that reflect the spiritual nature. Now, they take all the spiritual things and turn them bad. For instance, you look at they have an owl in how they set up Washington, D.C. No, this was a positive Freemason activity of the founding fathers, okay? And I'm sorry, but if people are having a problem with that, but I'll explain it. When the White House is where the Earth would sit, and Venus makes a transit, it goes into that star, which would be inverted. So Venus would be the base of the star. They are our sister planet. They are closely aligned with us, and we are kind of like twin flames. They live in a paradisical world. Emanuel Swedenborg, Dante, many others, people went to Venus throughout history, including my friend Dr. Raymond Keller, who will be speaking at my conference. He lived there for 2 months, and he works directly with the Galactic Confederation of Light, and the head of the Galactic Confederation of Light of 51 solar systems on 601 worlds is a woman named Lady Orda. Their society is based on the bees. It's a matriarchal society. It's not a royal lineage. She's chosen by her lifetimes of service to the Earth and to Venus for her nomination as the head. And as the head of the Venusian, the highest form of consciousness on the physical plane of the solar system, she acts as the head of the Solar Council Tribunal and is one of the primary interfaces to the Jupiter multiple Federation and galactic portals. And there's a lot of attention here right now, of course, due to the reptilian, Orion, and other things. This is maybe outside the scope of pyramid information, but I thought you all should kind of get up to speed on that. So that's a little bit of there's a fractal heart wave again. Within each atom, there are 49 anu of the subsequent more lighter plane. So there's a divine mind. We showed that one. Okay. So, we're eternal beings here to grow in love and serve each other and support. And the world was invaded by interlopers or intruders who purely materialistic or beastly natures interfered with God's holy and divine plan. The divine plan is now being restored on the earth, and there is a universal order of multidimensional superluminal teachers known as the Order of Melchizedek. And the Order of Melchizedek, it would be the theophanic angel Salem Melchizedek or Sanat Kumara or Jesus Christ, the same being, the one like unto God in the Bible. Okay, we showed that. Now we look here, we see these giants, and these are real. These are beings that came here, the Atlanteans. They were supposed to uplift, and there's a lot of different stories on there, but basically these beings started interbreeding with humans and created an abomination. And so some of these beings in Atlantis, they were influenced by some fallen beings that were hidden to them at that time. And they created, very unholy beings. There are a few good ones, but most of them that came from these unions denigrated the thinking, and the energies were misused. So let's talk about the Great Pyramid. How does it work? It's a free energy machine. It works through the piezoelectric effect of the limestone. It also uses a thermal coupling electricity that used to work on the outside to the inside and works on the variation. It has electrostatics. It's like a capacitor. Even when the gate is open, the capacitor still is creating energy. It had a fuel combustion in there where they separated oxygen and hydrogen in the process. The king's chamber in there is not a king's chamber, actually. It was a battery, and the king's chamber ceiling rose as well as did the porticos. When you go into the king's chamber, one of the porticos is a little low, so you have to learn the other aspect of the Great Pyramid's energy, which is to he who exalts himself shall be humbled, and he who humbles himself shall be exalted. This is when you drop to your knees to enter the Great Pyramid, and everyone pretty much must do that. It has microwave energy, efficiency enhancement, and focusing natural earth energies. And that's including kinetic energies of the earth, the moon, the sun. It was a gold-plated capstone, and if you were anywhere within a visual range of sight, you had free energy at a certain place of time around the Great Pyramid. And there are hundreds of thousands of pyramids all over the earth that were providing energy and creating like a guardian energy against the negative forces. But that fell through, and we became subject and overruled for about 16,000 years now by the negative forces. And those contracts or those covenants that they had and those cycles are over, and it's coming back to humanity. The bad guys are still trying to run their game. Most of them have been driven off the earth at this point. So here's an example of how the Earth's energy would reflect into the pyramid and go into, the king's chamber, the queen's chamber. So we can go on this forever. So this is the grand gallery. So this is an important aspect of what's happening there. This is the king's chamber, and there's a lot of stuff here. This is the queen's shaft. This is the queen's shaft going up to light. Underneath here is a huge technology that actually stabilizes the earth. There was a vortex underneath the pyramid, but it's moved now. The pyramid doesn't effectively produce energy in this way anymore, but this is what it used for. There are also other rooms, like 7 centers of the chakra, where they're related. There's different rooms and repositories of different records, as well as beneath the Sphinx. There is some stuff there. So this is the king chamber I talked to you about. It's open now, but these would go up and down. And here's a grand gallery. There's a lot of enigmas in there, people wondering what's going on inside there. And I can shed a little bit of light on that here. Okay. The Great Pyramid was a free energy device. It was an initiation chamber. They'd start the teachings at Saqqara, and there's an underground tunnel built that goes 40 miles to underneath the Great Pyramid. And the initiates would go there, and there's some giant sarcophagus in there where beings would lay in the sarcophagus in complete silence in meditation without much air. And that was a discipline that took place. And when the initiation took place, they would travel. Now, the Great Pyramid, I'm going to tell you right now, was built probably 13,500 years ago by a combination of humans and Anunnaki from Sirius, and they did it on an automatic. They designed it, and then they built an autopilot spaceships that went and cut lime quarry from a long way away and brought it in. And then the Atlans, or the beings with the onks, which is the sound device, would lift up the stones, would take them off the thing, and then literally 2 Egyptians could maneuver the stone around as long as the Atlantean kept it levitated. So it's an architectural wonder. The stones are so big. They couldn't even move one stone in a Mayan temple that's 5,000 tons and get it back into place. It was a huge operation, and they're 25 tons in Egypt. And down in Bolivia, in Sacsayhuaman, there is even bigger than that, some enormous stones down there. So it's a temple dedicated to God, and the science is reflected in the distance to the sun, the moon, the mass of the earth, many other things. It's a repository of technology. I talked about it being an earth stabilization machine, and together with the other pyramids and the energy and the kind of the guides that came here, it was a sentry or a guardian for Torah. There's many, many portals on the world to other worlds and dimensions, but in Atlantean times they had pyramids, and they were able to contact to other worlds and make understandings. Now here's in the Grand Gallery, and a lot of this has to do with the seven or the eight archangels and the various energies. So I'm going to share with you the energies here. So up here we have wisdom, knowledge, harmony, love, the greatest power, willpower, allegiance, and allowance. And the most prevalent but weakest force is chaos. Okay, so this machine would move up and down, and in the Grand Gallery there's a along this long line here. There was a machine that went up here along these tracks, and it would attune to various sacred stones that were all along this thing. So the battery actually rested in the sarcophagus, as we call it, but it wasn't a sarcophagus. Okay, so it worked in unison and synergy with many other technologies. Okay, this is a short lecture here. So these are the primal forces representing the eight archangel energies. Okay, so it goes into deeper physics of mesons is love and willpower plus gravity. Gravity is love, willpower, and chaos, harmony and chaos, knowledge and chaos, quark. So you get the different energy fluctuations in the quantum world of physics that we're just starting to crack the codes of consciousness in our own existence here. And primarily we're working with the understanding of time. And we're going to learn a lot about this advanced physics from my friend David Wallace. The contactee was taken to another world and couldn't do calculus before 2017. He just graduated the top of his class, well above anyone else in physics, on the downloads from his friends from the stars, from the Aldebaran system, Kim Jim, and the Andromedan L. And you're going to be seeing a lot of stuff I can't talk about right now. He will not allow photographs when his presentation comes, but it's got a lot of amazing stuff coming up here. We're getting into this level of new level of contactees coming forward. So that's the end of that slideshow. I'm going to share with you a little bit. I'm going to take a little walk around my house here, and I'm going to go into, I'm going to stop the screen share, and I'm going to show you guys some of my technologies in my living room. And all of these technologies work together, and I'll show you in a moment here how they all work together before we sign off here. So this is called an ion shower. Okay, this has a Tesla coil, it has a crystal cluster, and it has a gold-plated emitter needle with one of these receptors that I'm wearing on my neck, and I'll show that. I'm going to turn this puppy on to about 40 kV. Oop, 40 kV. So you'll see the light on here, and we'll let the charge build up a little bit on this thing. And I'm going to show you what's called the violet flame. I have a lot of other devices, but I'm doing another presentation today and a little bit down the hill. So here we see the Omnion, and we see the irradiator. Then we see the star orb. So I'm going to wrap this up really quick here. I'm going to have to show you down here my necklace. So I'm going to show you real close the necklace. And the necklace has 144 pyramids in a concentric Fibonacci spiral. And it has a gemstone on the front here. This is a quartz crystal, similar in frequency to a diamond. And on the back is what's called a Krasigan wave trap. You'll see it looks like a yin-yang symbol a little bit. And this filters the magnetic energies. Now I have a electronic meter that I could take this meter, and I have some videos of it, I think, on my website, that you put You have all the meters going like red, beep, 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 271, and you put the pyramid over it, and it goes down to like 75 to 61, all green. So the pyramid is a Faraday cage. Very important for people to recognize some of that information here. So I'm going to take you out of here, and I'm going to go into, I'm going to get out of this here, and I'm going to pull up some of the other technologies here. I think I can find it pretty quickly for us. And I'll just have to pull this up a little bit. Excuse my little technological glitch here. And first I'll show you the nuclear receptor. This is a whole manual. I'll show you where it's located. We have a bunch of different designs, a 3-leg straight, a 3-leg wave, and it has a lot of good energy. It works with the minerals in the body, and I want to show you, works a lot on the DNA, and this explains how electricity and consciousness work for the aura, and how the pyramid acts as a stabilization factor. The brain receives hormones from the endocrine glands. This is why it's important to monitor your feelings and to have good food, because you're fluctuating. And with all the chaos and electromagnetic radiation in your body's unwinding of the DNA, we have unsynchronized energy. It results in low vitality. When the electrical energy is flowing smoothly, you have a positive effect, and you're more in harmony with the universe. I'm going to show you. What happens is the DNA unwinds, and the parabolic curve here of this receptor around my neck is at about 22.3 megahertz. And you'll notice there are different, what we call base pairs per turn. From here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this DNA strand represents someone who's probably about 50 years old. When you're born, inside the womb, you have 46 base pairs per turn. Your first breath, you go down to 34. By the time you're 30, you're probably at 20 base pairs per turn. I'm at 65. Maybe I have 6 base pairs per turn. What that means is maybe I have more because I've been running the receptor for years, but your body, this ladder that you're seeing here unwinds, and it sends out a scalar wave signal to attract another set of proteins, of amino acids, to build the half that it left. And then that half gets sloughed off and you have a new one. So you have like a half-life of these DNA. So that's what DNA happens at the end of this ladder. There's something called telomeres, and those hold the DNA ladder apart. And if we have electromagnetic frequencies like chemtrails, ALF, all of these electromagnetic frequencies, Wi-Fi, 5G is definitely designed to jam this. They put the frequency of your cell phone is about between 830 and 960 megahertz. If you were to take the average skull and gong it, it's right in there. So that's what they're doing here. They're using their advanced knowledge and technology to work against us. They're pretty powerful in that. So I'm gonna, you know what? I'll just share with you here the great violet flame here. So you can see this here. I'm going to show you. I'm already arcing. So I'm going to come up here and I'll bring my hand up. See the lightning bolt? So I don't know if you can see that. Let me see. Yeah, I think you can see that. So I'm going to let you look at that slow motion on your rewind factor there. But that's, for instance, you have a tumor on your head, on your neck. If you took an acupuncture needle and connected it to that wire, tumor would disappear. They know this stuff. So these advanced technologies are one of the things that the Venusians say that as people gather this information about free energy and advanced healing technologies, it'll be time for the religious potentiates, the hucksters, and the militarists to go away. And that's up to us to stop following the theater of war, where they create people to hate each other and to do things against each other for no good reason. going to share a screen now, and I'm going to finish up and show you. Let me go in here, and I should be able to get back to pyramid systems and go back one here. I'm going to show you. There's a conference again. I have some other good stuff in here. I have an inner circle. You can read about my story, the different products, but that's the Omnion that you saw over there. I'm going to show you I'm going to show you my jewelry piece. I think that's over here. So this is my jewelry pieces, the different designs. But I think what I have here is I have the information I want you to see of the various pyramid systems in action. So I'm going to go here. I think I'm going to go to part 3 of the technology. So these are the headgear pyramids that you see. This goes over your vitamins and keeps your water. You know, if you put water and you have a wolf and a dog, the wolf will always go to the bowl, even if it's a dog's bowl that's been under the pyramid water. Water can be placed under there for your plants, your hair. It can sharpen razor blades. Coffee, grapefruit juice will go to alkaline. You can drop a crystal in the water and shoot a laser into it. So you get a thing. So this is the star shield that works on the grounding of the energy. This is for a larger device. This goes into a house and blanks out a lot of the EMF and negativity. You can also connect a Tesla coil to it. You don't need a copper wire anymore. I take a wire and put it right into the plug. So we come down here, and I'm going to show you, we have these other pyramid systems technology. This is called the irradiator, and that's the one you saw over there. You put crystals in the bottom, and then whatever you want to produce or materialize or manifest, you put inside here. Okay, so it works like a laser, and lasers are light amplification through stimulated emission of radiation. And of course, you have the fire star, the spring energy. There's Dr. Fred Bell and the daughter who I'm in contact with. And I have bed pyramids right now. The price of steel has put them through the roof. I've sold out, so we're hoping to get that going at some point. But there's the Omnion, and I have, oh, that's not it. So I'm going to go back. I want to show you, I think I had some images, and oh, I know what it is. Okay, I'm going to show you one final thing here, and then I'm going to let you go. And I want to thank you again, Neil, and all the people there. Be sure to come and see Neil at my conference in Mount Shasta coming up. So this is an ancient 1982 manual that we had here from a long time ago. And so, oops, these are the different pyramid systems. We didn't rotate it on this one yet. But these are the columns, and they create different frequencies. Let me, I don't want to go out with a dud here. Oh, I know where it might be in a better position. And I'm going to go to my home page here. I'm going to stop share. And we'll give it one last chance if I can pull this up and show you some nice images of how these pyramid systems work. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so this is a picture from a spaceship from the Pleiades, Semyasi's birthday cake ship. These are little remote control discs. Could be weapons, and they could be defensive measures, and they could be monitoring discs. These ships are highly advanced. So let's see if I can get down here. I'm going to scroll through some images. There's a lot of information here about these different pyramids, how to use them, how they work on the body, and I want to get to a lot of things I discussed are in here. I get to okay, there's the bed pyramid. It explains about how that works with the body. Your life force body comes out and recharges the earth, so it really helps there. There's experiments you can do and how you can see it really works. And there we go. This is important to understand the chakras and relationship that I talked about. So you understand the various aspects of your body and how to control your body and your feelings, and understanding that energy follows thought. And what you're doing. You have testimonials from doctors. One doctor got fired. There's some of the jewelry stuff. But one other thing I want to tell you, that's a spaceship that we were building out in the desert. Fred was, but that didn't come to fruition yet. And there's a solid liquid gas ionic of the first physical plane. And I wanted to tell the pretty picture. Pretty pictures. Okay, so these are some of the devices and the energy fields that come off them. So this is the irradiator. This is what I want to show you guys. This kind of shows the frequencies of the scalar waves and how it works with the pyramid. And if you go back to that image of the dual vortexes with the Tesla coil, when you have this many on a Tesla coil, it's off the hook. As the young kids say, that's the device you saw. I've improved it with a lot more crystals here. But I'm going to show you the full systems. This is the bottom of the system that we connect directly to a negative ion generator. Creates this kind of like pebbled lotus energy field. So this energy goes out, and the frequency of this sine wave here will change based on the gemstone placed in the bottom. So you can affect each chakra, even all 13 chakras. These are returned echo from the target, and this is kind of high. This is kind of teleportation, time travel stuff. This is a guy named Buddha Maitreya. He calls himself that. His name is Ron. I built this system for him in Hawaii, and Fred, a Bali Lama came, and he was what's called a tulku. So he got in charge of a couple monasteries in Tibet. I come up here, almost. And so these are the pyramid systems connected all the way around. So this is the more advanced system. This is looking from the top down. You can see this very high frequency one would be a diamond. This might be a sapphire. This might be an emerald. And we go down into the lower frequencies. This might be a garnet or something like that. So this is how these energy frequencies. This is part of an advanced healing design. And I don't want to take up too much more time here. I want to thank you guys for having me on the show here. And I got to get this off to Neil for you guys to play on time. So thank you once again, Rob Potter of PromiseRevealed.net. I am honored to share this information that I've gathered from my teachers and my guides, the guides from the stars and from the Great White Brotherhood, people that are helping to reverse the situation on the planet. But it's coming through us, folks. Don't look for anyone to do it. You have to make the decisions to follow the golden rule and to guard your brother like and sister, like the people of your eye, and do no harm to others, and to stop being involved in evil or programmed negativity like the military, like police force. We have to stop following these false narratives and programming. And now they're really trying to get you into become a program through the vaccination, through a transhumanist agenda, and through an advanced technology. Thank God for our brothers and sisters from the stars for helping us do this. And we'll have more on this side of stuff throughout my ministry. I'm just the postman for the Ministry of Angels, or the Angel Force from Venus, and our brothers and sisters from the stars. And they're not to be worshipped. They don't want to be worshipped. And we should worship the God within ourselves and in each other and treat each other accordingly. So much respect, Neil Gar, other speakers, Sam. Keep doing those push-ups and keep moving the earth farther and farther towards the light. All right. See you soon. Maybe we'll see you in Mount Shasta. Thank you very much, and God bless.
Cool.
Awesome.
Thank you to Brother Rob. Another dynamic, another aspect of pyramid awareness download for all of you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Interesting stuff in there.
Definitely. So let's wrap it up here.